What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tooned Up on the Renegade Pop Culture Podcast Network. My name is Mike. I'll be your host as always. Joining me is my co-captain, Cameron.
Howdy, y'all.
Yeah, today we have a little light news day, but we got some great discussions to be had and reviews for Amphibia's Halloween special, Shut In, the DuckTales Darkwing Duck special, Let's Get Dangerous, and a review for Netflix's newest film, Over the Moon. But first, a little bit of a news rundown. So Cameron, what do you got?
Well, first off, we are also going to just lightly talk about the Frozen prequel, midquel thing, the origin of Olaf or whatever it's called. There won't be too much to say about that. But yeah, let's get with the news topics. So Nippon TV, a super large multi-platform entertainment business, probably the biggest in Japan, is launching a animation department. And it will be run by Kako Kuwahara. And they have their first project in the works with a 30-minute episode order for a show called Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy, which is based off of the award-winning novel. Hey, that sounds pretty cool to me. The anime industry is, I think, about to change really big, especially with what's going on in the world right now, especially with streaming becoming more popular and whatnot. But we'll have to see. Speaking of anime, Netflix has inked a pretty big overall deal with multiple studios and creators. This includes the Anima and Company owned NAS, Science Saru, the people who made Devilman Crybaby, Lou Over the Wall, Ride Your Wave, and Japan Sinks 2020. Studio Mappa, the God of High School, the Gymnastic Samurai, and Jujutsu Kaisen. And then the Korea-based animation studio, Studio Mir, who, made Avatar: The Last Airbender, Voltron, and our favorite show of 2020, Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts. Yeah, so
love that show.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm still thinking about it after we recorded that episode. I want to watch it some more, but we got too much to work with. And on top of that, they have gotten and made deals with multiple people, including Nanase Okawa, aka one of the founders of Clamp, a very popular manga and anime team. And they made a lot of stuff like X, and it's like people would know who they are if you're an animation fan. And apparently that was the only one that people cared about, because all the comment sections would have gifs of like clamps and of course the Futurama character Clamp. And and this also includes Shin Kibayashi, Yasuo Otagaki, Otsuichi, Tao Ubukata, and Mari Yamazaki. They're playing the long game here, and even though Dragon's Dogma was not the biggest hit or the critical darling that it really doesn't deserve to be, they've made more good than bad, or they have brought over more good than bad. Like, they brought over Beastars, BNA, The Great Pretender, Dorohedoro, and Kingen Ashura, and to a lesser extent Baki. But still, they got a lot of great shows on that service. And any comments before we move on?
I'm just excited to see more anime from Netflix. By the way, contrary to popular belief, our show is not sponsored by Netflix.
No, maybe we'll try to get some brand deals going on with some of these streaming services, since we're constantly talking about their stuff. But no, we're not branded by Netflix. It's just the easier way to get content for this episode, for this podcast and whatnot. So, but all this does mean, though, is that sooner or later we will have more of our favorite gyoza eating lizard boy for Kaiman.
Yes.
So I mean, that's a good thing for me. So Titmouse, the animation studio in Canada, and you would know them for like they worked on like Metalocalypse, Star Trek Lower Decks, Tigtone, The Midnight Gospel, Star Wars, Galaxy of Adventure. They're working on the Indivisible adaptation, though knowing what happened with that one, we'll see how far that goes. The studio is now closed because the head founder decided to be a scumbag. And then Critical Role's The Legend of Vox Machina. They are now unionized. They're the country's first union tune shop, which is good because if anything, animation is a challenging job and you have to commit to it, like what Tony Bancroft said to us in the interview a few weeks ago. And hopefully this means that the animators get better pay and better treatment, because you don't really want to anger the union. Let's just say that. So good for them. So Ludacris is making a kids series called Karma's World for Netflix. And of course, I would know him as the rapper and for one of my favorite rap songs, Rollout. And though, of course, more people these days would know him for the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah.
Man, I'm old. Anyway, this series was inspired by his oldest daughter, and it's based on the interactive educational website of the same name. So I don't know. I'll keep it on my radar, but I don't know if we'll be talking about this or not, depending on the age range for it. But
yeah, because we are trying to avoid shows meant for preschoolers, but at the same time, I'm just so fascinated by a guy like Ludacris coming into animation.
Well, we need more creators that are, not white and white guys. Not to say that there's anything wrong with them. It's just, diversity and inclusiveness results in better and more varied stories. And the 2010s have shown that. And so, we'll keep it on the radar, but I don't know if we'll be tackling it. But, we'll see. Just a quick, these two quick news stories I wanted to talk about. The European Film Awards have nominated a few pretty well-known animated films, or at least well-known to Mike and I. Klaus from last year, the Calamity, the winner of the Annecy Top Tier Prize, the new animated film Joseph, and our favorite Russian animated film, The Nose, have been nominated for Best Animated Features. That's a pretty good lineup to me, and I'm still kind of waiting for Joseph and Calamity to have a US release because, I guess they're just going through their festival runs right now, so we'll see how that goes until like a US distributor comes and picks them up. But I would like them, please.
Yeah, especially Calamity, because I've been jonesing for more animated Western content, and this was the one that I was most excited to see at Annecy, but we only ever got the preview.
Yeah, no, I wish we could have seen more of that one, and it's so annoying that they did that to us, because it's like, why open it up to the public if the public are not going to be able to see the movies? Even our pal Ruben was not able to see them, so I don't get it. All right, so that's mostly it for the news. I guess we should talk about this. The trailer for the new Tom and Jerry live action animation hybrid got leaked online. It's a French trailer. And I guess I'd like to see an English trailer first before we really talk about it, but I don't know. I like the 2D animation that they showed in the footage.
Yeah, I only got to see like a few seconds of it, but the stuff that I did see, um, I like the animation. I like the slapstick between Tom and Jerry. Um, I didn't hear any dialogue, but we'll get into it in detail once we actually get a US trailer.
Yeah, so that'll probably be next week. I'm sure it's going to be coming out soon, since now it's like, oh no, the trailer got leaked. We might as well talk about it, release it now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry for. I mean, that's always a problem with leaks. It's like it forces them to move ahead with certain marketing strategies and whatnot. But someone made it, leaked it out. It's not everyone else's fault that the trailer uh, picked up a lot of steam and whatnot. Anyway, so we have two discussion topics before we get into the reviews. First up, we're going to talk about.
Well, wait. Before we get to the discussions, we do have some trailers that we need to talk about.
Oh, thank you. Okay, first off, you know what? I keep saying, okay, there are no more news stories to tackle. We talked about them all in every episode, and we somehow miss one or two. But so I'm just not going to commit to that. I'm just going to say, oh, that's it for now. If we do not talk about a certain news story, we probably just forgot about it, because sometimes we do these episodes every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the content and what's getting released. Yeah, so 2 trailers got released this week. I think let's start with the Animaniacs one, the official Animaniacs 2020 trailer, which showed, we'll be getting it November 20th. And I don't know, I still think it looks pretty funny. I thought it was a pretty good first impression.
The second it started with Yakko saying reboots are everything that's wrong with modern entertainment, and then it cuts to them wearing Hulu hats and apparel,
yeah,
and then getting the check for $20 billion.
Here's the check for the Animaniacs reboots, you sellouts. No.
and then you see the pile of money that spells out Hulu.
Like, they're self-aware about this, about the fact that it's a reboot and whatnot, or I guess in this case a continuation, since they're coming back from the dead.
that in and of itself is a great starting point for the series.
And you hear the openings of the songs of the song in the trailer. It's like, we are the Animaniacs. You should see our new contracts. And you see the Grim Reaper's the one holding them. And it was pretty funny overall. I actually kind of laughed at the catfish joke with Pinky and the Brain. And it seemed like it still has a lot of the same energy with from the old 90s series. So I mean, I guess I'm trying to delay the inevitable, and we kind of have to talk about the backlash or the dumb discourse that has surrounded this trailer.
We'll get there in a minute, but first some of the other gags I like. I like when Yakko sees the the tablet.
Yeah.
It's like, this tablet contains all the information in the world. It's
all the information in the world in one bite-sized tablet, and then it eats and it's not like a pill tablet. It's like an iPad.
Yeah.
And he puts it in the water, drinks the whole thing, and then it's just like, I forgot exactly what he was like, but then it's like, Queen Bey, we miss so much. I mean, that's what happens when you are gone for, I guess, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
I liked the I mean, I guess my favorite gag is still the Jurassic Park teaser that we saw. But I guess I like the one at the end where it's like they upload the trailer, and then you see it's like Brain is just like, and now to engross ourselves in the adoration of the fans, and then it gets one like, and he sees it's Pinky. And
I gotta say, Pinky and the Brain kind of stole this trailer.
Oh gosh, yeah. And I love when it's just like, gee, Brain, what are we gonna do tonight? the same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over, and they get like flooded with foam. And then he's like, "Yay, foam party!" And of course, like some of the visual jokes that they showed are going to be pretty funny because as much as like it was a show released in the 90s, if you gave them enough leeway, they would go ham and they would not pull punches.
Oh yeah, they would like they would take the piss out of everything. Like and not just modern references, but references to classic movies, classic animation. The Warner Brothers 65th anniversary special is kind of one of my favorite episodes because they bring back an old Looney Tunes character named Buddy from obscurity, basically just to make fun of him, turn him into the villain.
Oh gosh.
And it's such a good episode.
Well, it's like one of my favorite episodes is when they're making fun of Michelangelo, and they're making fun of like the 16th chapel painting, the huge painting on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like they open up, it's like it's supposed to look like this, and then Dot's like, "Oh my gosh, all the naked people," and then Yakko would be like, "I want to be flashing that around here, buddy." And or like when they're making fun of the pilgrims, there's this one mad pilgrim.
Give me the bird.
Yeah, then Yakko's like, "Well, I'd love to, but the Fox censors won't allow it." And like they would they made fun of everything. And even if some of the jokes that there are making fun of current like films or trends or what or icons and whatnot, the fact of the matter is that the humor still holds up. And that's not a whole lot of that. Like you can't say that for a lot of like pop culture jokes and whatnot. So the fact of the matter is that they still made the punchlines punchy and they still punch now is a sign of great comedic storytelling.
Definitely.
But of course, they showed a like they're going to apparently have a Greek setting episode with shenanigans and such, like because you see Yakko say like, "Oh, it looks like it's going to be an Odyssey," and there's a Cyclops, and he looks like our garbage fire person in charge of the entire U.S. And of course, that sent people into not people, little trash hobgoblins, or AKA quote unquote fans, got into a hissy fit and said like the show got political, and it's like, oh honey, the show's been political. It's made political jokes. Where the heck were you back in the 90s?
Hell, like, do you even listen to the lyrics in the theme song?
They like I don't get these people. It's like they're more mad that their political side is getting made fun of, even though they go after everyone. And like, I guess like they have a president song that they go through all the presidents up till Bill Clinton, and they don't pull punches like with some of them. Like there's Andrew Johnson's next. He had some slight defects, and or it's like like Nixon was caught in Tom Ford fell down a lot, and or like it's like I don't get these people. It's like when they make fun of it's like the whole Looney Tunes controversy that happened earlier this year. It's baffling that that's the thing that they take away. Or you know what, they're not fans. They're either just getting mad because political humor, or they're just now realizing I mean, I don't know, they're just not good fans.
They aren't, and I think the problem is some of these people who are making such claims either are pulling this right out of their ass, or they have no actual recollection of the show they claim to be a fan of.
Yeah.
And I have been going back and watching some of the old episodes just just because this is my comfort show. It's something I love going back to, and like when you watch the old series, there's political humor everywhere.
Yeah, and like again, they go like in the past, present, and whatnot with their humor. They made an entire well, they like there are two episodes that bring this up to mind for me. They made an entire episode, or I guess part of an episode, to make fun of William Shatner's horrible rendition of Rocket Man by making a William Shatner-esque character sing children's lullabies like Ba Ba Black Sheep.
I love that one.
Yeah, and of course they make a bunch of Star Trek jokes and a reference to Spock's little Bilbo Baggins song. And then there's one where they make fun of Woodstock because, kids would totally understand what Woodstock is. Or there's the entire meta joke of Pinky and the Brain getting hired to do voiceovers for ads, that the entire punchline is they're making fun of those Orson Welles recordings.
Yep.
So these people they're not fans. They are just doing it to cause trouble and are just a waste of space. Or they just do not remember how adult and political some of these jokes were. Like that's the thing about Steven Spielberg's cartoons that he produced. They got away with a lot of jokes, especially like one in Freakazoid where Freakazoid's hanging out with his cop friend who's played by Ed Asner, and he's having a sandwich. And Freakazoid asks him like, cop or officer, why aren't you married? And he's like, because I like meat too much. And he's like, well, you can be married and still like meat. And there's like a pause, and he's like, huh, you're right. Like if you can't pick up the joke there, then I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't know. These people annoy me. I wish I could ignore them, but they pull you back in.
they pop up like weeds. Like you think you've heard the end of them, but then another controversy comes up, and then you see more of them.
Yes,
But
sadly.
all of this is really just a waste of time.
Yeah, seriously. Anyway, the new show looks great. I'm sorry that the original creators are still not happy about it, and maybe if this does well, they can bring them on. But I don't know. I think the show looks great, but it could also be just great marketing. But we'll see. In November 20th, we'll definitely be talking about it.
Yes, we will.
So next, we will talk about Disney releasing their newest trailer for Raya, or their first teaser trailer for Raya and the Last Dragon. And, it's being now directed by the guy who directed Blind Spotting. And it has, Kelly Marie Tran as the lead. And, well, it's a teaser trailer. You got to keep that in mind. But I thought that was a great teaser trailer.
It was.
Yeah, just very action-packed, very different vibe-wise, like just a different tone and atmosphere to it. It had its little goofier, like little Disney elements, but I thought overall it was a cool trailer. That's of course everybody's making fun of it as like this is Disney's answer to Avatar and Korra and whatnot, and I just love the visual look of it all. Just the mix of Asian cultures, and someone pointed this out in one of the Facebook groups we're in, where they noticed that like there are actually more body types this time around, and it was just a great little trailer. And of course, they teased at the end the last dragon, and who's going to be played by Awkwafina, and I'm a little curious to see how much the tone changes once they introduce Awkwafina's character, or just like what's her approach to the character. Like, are we getting a Maui situation, or are we getting a Genie situation?
I don't know, but I will say this: if you want to see Awkwafina in a more dramatic role, I would check out her film from last year, The Farewell. That's where she shows a little bit more range than just being the class clown.
That, first of all, that's one of my favorite live action movies from last year. That's just a great movie. So definitely check out that movie. And yeah, because I know like she gets kind of typecasted as like like the class clown, and especially when she was like in the Angry Birds movie too and whatnot. But she's a great actress. I've enjoyed her appearances so far in the films, and I need to see her show, but I hear it's great. So
Same. As for my thoughts on this trailer, this looks gorgeous. I've been super impressed with Disney's modern era of animated films ever since like Tangled. That's when they've really upped their game.
well, Glenn Keane, the director of Over the Moon, apparently like the stories that go around are that he wanted the CGI animation to move like 2D, and they're like, we can't do that right now. And he's just like, oh, that's baloney. I'm going to make you guys do it. And apparently they had to like create entirely new tools and programs just to make Tangled move as it does.
Yeah,
And
that explains why it's still one of the most expensive animated films in recent memory.
yeah, and of course he was supposed to direct it, but then unfortunately had a heart attack and had to bow out. But still a great movie, and I think a lot of his talent touches were there still. And of course, we'll be talking about Over the Moon at the very end and whatnot. But any other thoughts about Raya?
I too was one of those people joking that this looked like a CGI remake of The Legend of Korra, because of Raya's outfit in the beginning. But
Oh yeah.
but still, I love the way this film looks. I love the music in the trailer.
Oh man, everybody. That's the other thing that a lot of people talked about was the music. Everybody's like, "Oh man, that the music was, I guess, straight fire," is what they say. I'm so out of touch with what's new. It rocks lingo and whatnot. But yeah, and I kind of got like touches of like Black Panther in a way, like just when like trying to bring the different communities together and whatnot, and the world together. And yeah, I think it looks great. Though I will say, if we are still stuck in a pandemic, I think it would be smart for Disney to do a simultaneous on demand and theatrical release, because I don't want them to straight up send it to Disney Plus, but it's like just in case, because we don't know what's going to be happening for the next few months. And
Yeah,
that March release date is optimistic, to say the least.
yeah. That brings us to a discussion that that we need to have, because we know that Soul will be released on Disney Plus on Christmas Day, and selfishly, I'm happy that we still get to see that movie in 2020, but the bigger picture is a little bit more concerning, especially when Disney even announced like a couple weeks ago that they're interested in taking streaming more seriously.
Yeah, and I guess let's start with the I guess let's get the streaming part out of the way first, because I want to talk about more of the implications as the meteor part of this discussion topic. I don't think they're giving up on theaters. I think that's a bit crazy. I think people are panicking because, and I guess this might be an unpopular opinion, Disney is not killing the theater industry. COVID has killed the theater industry. It has pushed back everything, any chance for theaters and studios to make money have been pushed back to next year. So there's, unless like you like your indie films, which yeah, I like my indie films, but sometimes I want to go to a movie theater to watch a big movie. And due to this year, that stupid pandemic has basically put another nail in the coffin for theatrical releases. And I don't think we're going to be seeing, like, they're not going to be spending like $300 million for like, they're not going to make a Black Widow Disney Plus movie. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like they're not going to put the big blockbusters on a streaming platform because they already cost too much money. And the model clearly isn't working. That's why you don't have to pay $30 to see Soul on Christmas Day. It'll just be on the service.
Yeah, because they're not being entirely clear about what happened with the Mulan 2020 numbers, which is a really annoying thing about streaming numbers and whatnot, because, we want to understand. We want to understand how the logic behind, like, how ratings and viewership works for something like Netflix and whatnot, but they're just being kind of tight-lipped about it. But now I think but that's just my opinion. Do you have any thoughts about the streaming aspect of their announcement?
I think that I think personally, even though my movie theater just opened up on Friday, that would be October 23rd. I personally still don't feel comfortable going to a theater just yet until we start to see um, more four quadrant films being released, and also just as long as it's safe to go.
I'm waiting until it's safe to go. I don't care what's out, because if people wanted to go out, Tenant would have actually been a hit in the US. It's a hit overseas, but it's not here. And you probably couldn't have chosen a worse movie to try to reopen theaters back with.
Right.
And not that like Christopher Nolan's like a nobody, but something like Tenet and the mixed reviews that I see all over Twitter and the critic circles and whatnot, it should have either been like a Wonder Woman or a Black Widow. Otherwise, nobody is going to risk it going to see a confusing, dense Nolan film that may, I mean, like, I haven't seen it. I'm just saying, like, that may or may not have his best and worst like filmmaking elements to it. And it also may have actually done more damage to the theaters by reopening up with Tenet. So, but no, I do think the bummer's part of this is that they're probably going to put all their smaller films onto Disney Plus, and that's a shame. I think they deserve a chance in a theater as well, because there's really something different when you see a film like Blind Spotting or Black Klansman in a theater with like people like reacting alongside you and whatnot. And like, I mean, we'll have to see, like, if they mean they're just going to make more shows for it and whatnot. And sorry to burst the TV fan bubbles, but TV's dying. There's like, I mean, it's not like there aren't hit shows or anything anymore, but it's like, but TV is struggling, and that's because people are getting kind of tired of the TV formats.
It's not necessarily that. I mean, it's not just that. It's also cable prices have skyrocketed to the point where people are now seeking other options. Sites like YouTube and Hulu are offering live TV for at most like $40 to $50, which is a huge difference between. That's like a huge difference from the $275 that you have to pay for Spectrum or Comcast.
Yeah, and of course we're probably going to end up in a period where they'll be just selling us streaming bundles. But I guess I'd rather pay for that than pay for cable and have a bunch of channels I'm not watching.
Exactly. At least like with all these streaming services, you more or less get to control the stuff you're watching.
Yeah, and but yeah, that's really it I had for the streaming part. But now let's go to the unfortunate implications with Soul Game put on Disney Plus. It is Pixar's first black co-directed um, animated film with a mostly predominantly black cast, and unfortunately, getting directly sent to Disney Plus instead of getting a theatrical release, or at least one overseas, is like there are some unfortunate, maybe slightly racist implications of this. Like, oh, we put the one film with a predominantly black cast and co-director on it, and I understand and agree with that stuff. But I mean, no, not but. Though I'm still pretty happy we're getting it. I think we kind of need it because we don't know what else is going to get pushed back. Like Connected is still like we don't know what's going to happen with that film.
Yeah, Connected is still in limbo. The Croods, the Crude sequel, um, that one's going to theaters for some reason. Optimistically assuming that Corona will be finished by election, which is not likely at all.
No, I mean unless unless we had like superpowers or whatnot, or the power of the Lord Almighty and whatnot, this thing's not going to get crushed until like a few months. But even then, we have to see what happens.
Exactly.
So I understand people being bummed, though. I also saw a few arguments saying why didn't they just put Black Widow on there? And it's like, one, I think they want the overseas market for that one. Let's just be honest there. Though I think that will bring up an overall like other bad faith issue of like, let's take the female directed, female led, and mostly female cast superhero movie and put it on Disney Plus, because who cares about Black Widow? So I mean, it's a different situation. It's a different issue. I'm not saying they're the same. There's definitely a little more levity with talking about Soul going to Disney Plus. Um, like
So I have some pros and I have some cons. The pro is I think the best case scenario. Um, Disney wants to boost the subscribers for Disney Plus, so that's the whole reason they're making such a big deal out of um, having Soul come out on Christmas Day, um, and you don't have to pay the $30, so it'll entice more families to either, it gives them something to watch Christmas morning, or it entices new families to become new subscribers, because I mentioned before how Disney wants to add more content to Disney Plus. The downside is, yeah, it's not a good look when Pixar's first film, co-directed and co-written by a black filmmaker, is getting pushed off to a streaming service. And it's the same. It is kind of the same, like, bad look of having Mulan. You know, one of
yeah,
one of Disney's rare female-directed blockbusters getting pushed to a streaming service.
yeah, and I know, I mean, like we know now about the serious issues that plague Mulan and such, and like, but that was like before we knew, because there was already a little like PR baloney with Mulan before it hit Disney Plus, but it's like, yeah, of course we know in hindsight there's a lot of issues where with the production of Mulan. Excuse me, sorry. Um, so yeah, but just a heads up, the co-director, but besides Pete Docters, his name is Kemp Powers. He helped direct a little bit of Star Trek Discovery, and he adapted his play One Night in Miami, which is the big critical darling that's going around right now. It's being directed by the film adaptations being directed by Regina King, and first of all, it's just I just want to make sure because I keep forgetting that his name, and I feel bad about that. And it seems like everyone keeps talking about it, and they keep calling it Pete Docter's film. Because granted, Pete Docter is the bigger name.
Don't worry. After this year, people will know the name Kemp Powers.
I hope so, because from what I hear, One Night in Miami is just great. Though,
by the way, that's supposed to come out the same day as Soul, so
good for him.
Yeah, that makes me excited.
Yeah. Do you have any other cons for Soul?
I've pretty much said everything I have to say. I'm excited that we get to see it this year. We're going to talk about Over the Moon in a little bit, but just a little spoiler. The ball is in Soul's court right now in terms of what will win Best Animated Film of 2020.
Yeah, it has to somehow be better than Over the Moon, Ride Your Wave, and Wolfwalkers. So that'll be a little tease for then. But I really don't have anything else to say about the Soul situation. I'm glad we're going to see it. I'm sorry about the implications that may come with it. I hope those implications aren't proven true, but we'll just have to see. Go
Speaking
ahead.
of Disney Plus, we should talk about the Olaf short that came out today.
Yes,
or that came out over the weekend.
Yeah, Once Upon a Snowman. Well, what is there really to talk about this? The runtime for this thing is a little misleading because they keep it says it's like 12 minutes, but it's more like 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's the length of a pretty standard animated short.
Yeah, and it's not all that substantial. So here's what the description says. The previously untold origins of Olaf, the summer-loving snowman who melted hearts in the Academy Award-winning 2013 Disney animated feature Frozen, and its acclaimed 2019 sequel. I have issues with it saying acclaimed, but that's just me. Are revealed in the all-new Walt Disney Animated Studios animated short, Once Upon a Snowman. The film follows Olaf's first steps as he comes to life and searches for his identity in the mountains outside Arendelle. And it's basically the origin of his nose and his love for summer.
And the fact that he likes warm hugs.
And warm hugs. And it was cute. I'm not as sick and tired of Frozen as much as everyone else is. But I understand it's like yet another Olaf short. And I know the Olaf's Frozen Adventure was not widely well received because it was put in front of Coco and it was 21 minutes long.
Honestly, those are the only reasons it's not well received, other than the fact that Kirsten and Robert Lopez didn't come back to write the music. They were written by a couple nobodies.
Well, that makes sense. And I still like that short, but it is when the story is that people thought they came in to see the wrong movie when they went to see Coco, that's a big problem. And this one is very cute. This new one, the Once Upon a Snowman, it's cute, but we really just talked about it by saying his origins of loving summer, warm hugs, and his carrot nose. Because there's not really much else. There's some pretty visuals, when it does that aerial shot of him walking around in the snow. And I know some people are getting kind of tired of him. Maybe it's oversaturation, but I still think Josh Gad and his combination with Olaf has made for probably one of the best Disney side characters.
I would agree with that. I've always been a fan of Josh Gad. Ever since the film 21, which is not a good movie, um, but he's good, um, like in the small role that he has.
He's in one of the Ice Age sequels. I think the fourth one. It's whatever the Peter Dinklage monkey pirate villain is, and he did not get to do a whole lot. So say what you will about his Olaf character, at least he has a character. Though, I mean, I did think his interaction with the Scandinavian guy, Steam sauna guy, was very funny and cute. Where he's like, "Did you know that if you moved around some of the letters in your name, it's spells naked Scandinavian?"
I think that's the funniest joke in I don't want to say all of Frozen, but it's up there.
Yeah, no, and that's pretty much the one thing that makes this short worth it. And I mean, it has a cute ending, but it's definitely like filler. And I think some of those Olaf shorts that were made in quarantine were funnier or a little more interesting overall. But I don't know. It's harmless. I'm probably not going to watch it again unless my niece wants to watch it, but that's just me.
I might throw it on once in a while, just if I want to watch like the whole Frozen saga. But yeah, it's fine. It's harmless.
Yeah, so watch it if you want. You're not missing much, but you know, it's still Disney's CGI animation. It still looks great. But yeah, but let's move on. Let's talk about the actual meaty stuff that we need to discuss. I think let's start with Amphibia.
Yes. First of all, Cameron, you just binged these two seasons, so I'm gonna let you go first. What are your thoughts on Amphibia?
Well, I think in terms of cartoons from 2019, I think it's from 2019. I think it's one of the best cartoons from last year. I thought it's a very charming, very cute, whimsical, and fairly unique looking like not in terms of character designs, but just unique world look and whatnot. And I do think it takes a little too long to get going. I think it hooks into me at the halfway point of season one. And that's mostly because I think the two sections episodes kind of hurt it because it's mostly a show with very like story, like single story events with maybe a tease here and there of connecting the overall narrative. But I really love the main characters. I thought they had a pretty good chemistry overall. Though I have to say my favorite character is still Bill Farmer as Hop Pop, and then I think the second season's great because I just think the second season goes into a little more deeper story and character dynamics. And though I will say the opening sequence and the closing sequence are great. I love the music for those, and I love the the side characters and the voice cast that they have. Um, and yeah, I think like I want to go into it more when we talk about after the second season wraps up. But overall, I think it's a pretty great show.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be caught up with Amphibia now because this is one of those shows that um like this was the reason why I wanted to catch up on all of Disney's modern animated series because
Mm-hmm.
one, I wanted to watch Gravity Falls so I could enjoy um the
The
wax museum.
crossover.
Yeah, the wax museum episode. Um, but yeah, the show is just it's just so much fun. It feels kind of like a throwback to like classic cartoons from our childhood with like the two 11-minute short format, but then it also has elements of modern animation with the connected stories, the like the mystery, the
Mhm.
underlying mystery of the Calamity Box, and also the mystery surrounding Anne and her two friends.
Yeah, no, so yeah, no, I guess we should say, like, if you haven't seen the show yet, there's a crossover episode with they go to a town in season 2 and into this wax museum, and it's owned by a frog version of Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls. They even got that approved by Alex Hirsch, who also plays this frog version, and of course you get to see a frog version of Zeus or Seuss. And of course, that's probably the best sequence where it's like, do you think we live in a like all unlimited universes? Like we live all at the exact same time? And like, I just love that little sequence. And even though it's like, it's pretty obvious the crossovers thing. And even though, this is not the first time Disney shows have crossed over, by the way.
Right.
Uh,
It's a pretty common thing.
but I do think it fits well. I mean, if you want to go way back, the Disney Aladdin cartoon crossed over with the Hercules cartoon, and that one's pretty great if you want to see Hades and Jafar talk about their individual like protagonists that they keep getting halted by. There's a great sequence where Hercules and Aladdin break into hell, and uh, Hades is freaking out and he grabs Jafar. It's like, okay, don't worry about this. Heroes come down here all the time. It's actually pretty great, even though, James Woods is a garbage person, but Hades. But yeah, I guess let's talk about the Halloween special.
Yeah, so the Halloween special is called Shut In. And basically the setup is that every year the people in their village, Wartwood, they stay inside during the blue moon, so they won't turn into beasts. And this episode plays out like those anthology episodes of Gravity Falls, and this one has 3 different shorts, which are basically the scary stories told by Anne, Hot Pop, and Sprig. The first one is Phone Mo, where Anne tells the story of Anna and human versions of Sprig, Polly, Maddie, and Toady.
Yeah, keep going.
Um, and basically, it's kind of like a parody of The Ring, where they watch this like viral video of like this cute cat-like creature,
Mm-hmm.
but then they get taken. They get sucked into the video, and then it's up to Anna to save the day.
That was actually kind of legit creepy, especially when it got to the point where the cat creature comes out of the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, it's not the scariest story of the bunch, but I think that visual alone is kind of unsettling, especially for kids. And I do love like the little bit where Anne quote unquote Anne notices everyone that she knows are inside the video and such, and then you see this old guy and he's like, I've been in here for 35 years. And no, I think that one's pretty cute. It's at least it's better than Countdown. if you know that horror movie, then
Oh yeah,
the killer app. From I think last year also.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I thought that was a cute little story, and between by the way, between all of these the 3 stories, what's the little tadpole's name? Polly.
Yeah.
Tries to tell her own scary stories, and they're just like, we were there.
Yeah, like the running joke is that each of her stories is literally named after like previous episodes from the series.
It's pretty funny. I do like Polly probably gets the best lines of the show. I think she kind of steals the scenes at times. It's like
She absolutely does.
I love the scene where they all have their first sleepover at Newtopia, and they're like slumber party, and then it goes to her in slow motion ripping a pillow in half, and it's like slumber party. She's a violent little tadpole, by the way. So yeah, then Hop Pop is next, if I remember correctly.
Yep. His story is called Dead End.
And basically what this reminded me of was the last story in the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, because it's basically Hop Pop telling a story of a carriage driver who has apparently amazing hair, but you know, it's Hop Pop, so and he gets a certain I guess customer who sits in the back and says like, hey, I need you to take me to these spots. And each time they go to a different spot, the person that lives there just happens to, you know, pass away or vanish. It's basically like he encounters a version of death. And of course, then at the very end, Hop Pop survives, but at a deadly cost. He loses his luscious hair.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, I thought that one was pretty cute, but like I said, it kind of reminded me of the Ballad of Buster Scruggs story at the very end of that film.
I love George McKay or George Takei in that role. He's so creepy, and his design is perfect. He's like this slender, well-dressed gentleman like person until you find out he's gonna kill these innocent people. Well, innocent.
Yeah, quote unquote. What was that him?
Yep.
Man, I didn't notice him. I that's pretty cool. I like that. But and then as we go to our final story from oh god dang it. I just watched this show. I should know their names. Spriggs.
Yep, Sprig and Ivy in their short titled Skin Deep.
And do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, so Sprig and Ivy are playing bug ball until they lose their ball. They venture out into the forest and encounter the seamstress, who turns out to be a glass frog, a very insecure glass frog who creates a skin because she's insecure.
And well, to me, this was the creepiest looking character of this short, because
definitely
it actually reminded me. I don't know if you've ever seen footage of the Resident Evil 1 remake that was made like for the GameCube and whatnot. They introduce a new antagonistic force, this being who wears like basically a mask that's made of stitched up skins of her parents. And that's what this one kind of reminded me of, because she the glass frog wears a suit made of different frog skins, and it's pretty creepy looking with all the faces sticking out of it on it and such. And though I think this one might have my least favorite of the endings to their stories, but that's just me, because it's just like they're like, oh man, she's just insecure because she's see-through and whatnot and all that jazz. All right, let's beat her up and get out of here.
Yeah, the ending's a little sloppy, but Um, the character design is still creepy.
Yeah, I that's one of the things I like about this show. They actually do different variations of designs for different frogs and toads and newt characters and whatnot. They all just don't look like the same thing, or the same design and such. Which is, not all frogs look the same.
Yeah, there are many different types of frogs out there.
Yeah, yeah. But though I think what makes up for some of the clunkier aspects of this special is the ending where they find out that Polly's missing, and it's like, no, she couldn't have gone out to the full moon. Like she would never do that after what we said. Oh, look, a note. I went out to the full moon to get my horror story, and they're like, oh no. And then at the very end, she ends up being like a werewolf tadpole thing. No, it's a very cute special. I think it could have been a little creepier just because we live in a post Gravity Falls and Infinity Train world, but I'm not going to hold the show against that.
For what it was, I think this was just the right tone for this series. But if it was set in the world of like Gravity Falls or the Owl House, the creep factor would have gone up like at least one level.
Yeah, though I will say I do love the whole shut-in holiday where instead of going trick-or-treating, they get building supplies to like close off their doors and windows. And even though Anne throughout the whole episode, it's like, this sounds like Halloween. And they're like, no, it's not. It's not a holiday. And then it's like, well, you guys have jack-o'-lanterns like Halloween. No, those are spirit warding off pumpkins. And it's like, it's totally a holiday. I heard that. No, like I said, the show's pretty great in general and overall. And the Halloween special is cute.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I can't wait to see more from the second season, but so far I'm loving this show. I'm loving the new characters we were introduced to. Marcy, of course, is the best.
Which one is Marcy?
Marcy is one of Anne's friends.
Oh yeah. The one who's really into video games and such. And yeah, no, I like her a lot. She adds like a new kind of dynamic. And even though it's pretty obvious that the king is not all that good of a person, I do love hearing Keith David voice him. But yeah, no, but I also like that we got to go back to what's the town that they lived in for the first season?
Wartwood.
Yeah, Wartwood. Because I was like, as much as I think the first season drags a little, I think I was getting a little homesick, if that makes sense, because it's like you spend a whole season inside that one town, you're going to miss it after a while. And it not that like the other places or other characters they met weren't great or anything. I do love the traveling theater group who are actually thieves. And but when you have a town who's with the mayor who's voiced by Stephen Root, like you kind of want to make sure you go back there. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the Amphibia special.
Shall we move on then to the terror that flaps in the night?
Yes. But we will talk about Amphibia more in length after the second season wraps up. So we will be back to Amphibia. But yes, let's move on to DuckTales, aka the backdoor pilot for a Darkwing Duck show. How about you describe the episode in general first?
So in Let's Get Dangerous, we begin with Uncle Scrooge and the family heading off to Duckburg to visit one of McDuck Enterprises' scientists, Taurus Bulba, as he has cooked up for the family. Meanwhile, Launchpad is excited to reunite with Drake Mallard, aka Darkwing Duck. And from there, things get nutty.
Yeah, basically the machine that what's the villain's name?
Um,
Bulwark, the
Taurus
bull.
Bulba.
Yeah, Taurus Bulba. It's a like interdimensional machine. Basically the thing that the Kingpin had in Into the Spider-Verse. And um basically it's like one of the things they have to deal with is the fact that they run into that Drake Mallard, Darkwing Duck, and Launchpad run into a young girl who says that her uncle was taken down by uh by Bulba and because of the machine. So and then of course after they find out what exactly happens, the machine unleashes 4 villains from the Darkwing Duck universe, which is, Quackerjack, Megavolt, and what are the other 2 names? I forgot which ones.
Liquidator,
Yeah, Liquidator and
Bushroot.
Bushroot, which are like, if you've seen the original Darkwing Duck series, they're iconic villains. And we've already seen like some of them, like that rooster character with the metal beak. And
Steelbeak.
Yeah, Steelbeak, who's played by Jason Mantzoukas.
And we know that Fowl has been the main antagonist of this season.
Yeah, and it was a very fun episode, like hour-long special, because on one hand, I'm very curious to see how they connect the two if this does end up getting a like with a Darkwing Duck series. But now I'm kind of interested to see, like, I guess this means like Launchpad is not going to be in future episodes a whole lot. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't think we've seen the last of Launchpad.
I'm not saying that he's going to be gone. It's just like, how are they going to juggle him being in both shows if there happens to be both 2 shows?
Well, I'm sure I'm sure they'll have to share the character. Just like how you don't often see Donald on this, like in the series, because Tony Anselmo works on other projects as the character.
Yeah. Well, there's that 3 Caballeros TV series on Disney Plus, so that's one thing.
Yep.
But I thought it was a pretty fun, action-packed show, and at least special. And even though it has a lot of those like Spider-Verse elements to it, Spider-Verse was not the first thing to do the multi-dimensional superhero thing. So, but what was your favorite parts of this special?
Let's see, the stuff that I loved. I loved the first interaction between Bulba and Scrooge, Huey and Louie, where they make the haggis appear. And then Huey's asking a bunch of questions of how the ramrod works, and Louie's like, leave it to Huey to literally ask how the sausage is made.
I did love when the Huey or which one was the one with the green shirt?
That's Louie.
Louie takes a bite of the haggis and he's like, "Oh gosh, it tastes like feed and bitter resentment." Which, if you know what haggis is made of, might be true. But I liked seeing Gosland and her interpretation in this show, and I thought her dynamic chemistry with Launchpad and Drake Mallard was pretty good, and I felt for her story. I mean, like, even though it's not a very like unique backstory about what happened to her uncle, but I thought Stephanie Beatrice did a great job as her.
Oh, for sure.
And I do love the playfulness that Bulba brings to the to the villain lineup, because he's kind of like the overzealous like salesman, and he doesn't really want to go into like what's exactly wrong because it might cost him the work and whatnot. But no, I just think like, and of course seeing the official Darkwing Duck villain roster was great, and they did a fun thing where Quackerjack, the Joker villain, I guess, or not Joker, he's more like the Toy Man.
He's kind of a mix of both.
They brought back Michael Bell, who was the original voice actor for him from the 90s series back, and unfortunately they didn't get Dan Castellaneta back as Megavolt. He's voiced in this new iteration by Keith Ferguson. No, though not, I'm not saying that's a downgrade or anything. It's just, it's kind of, I like it when they bring back previous actors for the roles and whatnot. And I guess it really made me want to rewatch Darkwing Duck, because I do not have the Disney afternoon nostalgia that a lot of people do. I'm sure you have it more than me.
Yeah, I have a lot of nostalgia for the Disney afternoon, and Darkwing Duck in particular was one of my favorite shows. So yeah, seeing these villains coming back, and even though they're not all voiced by the original actors, it's still so much fun to see, like, to see them interacting with the new versions of Darkwing, of Launchpad, of Goslin. And yeah, I agree with you. Stephanie Beatrice did a fantastic job voicing the new Goslin.
Yeah, but like I guess I was kind of interesting to see where they were going to take the story, because they still like Drake Mallard is still not fully like he has yet to fully bloom into the role of Darkwing Duck, and it was kind of interesting to see just like see him get kind of thrown into the deep end, really, like, pretty much, because so far they haven't really shown if Nega Duck is coming back, the arch rival of the original Darkwing Duck show, who is voiced by Jim Cummings. Though who knows if he's actually going to be coming back as the evil Darkwing Duck. But I thought, like, in general, the special was pretty good. Like, even if it is like a backdoor pilot, I did love the punchline at the end with Launchpad being like, I'll work at Duckburg at the day, come over to this city at night, and I'll sleep in between. And it's like, that's such a Launchpad thing to say. But
especially like when he says, and I'll sleep on the drive over.
Yeah. I don't know how he's still alive after some of the stuff he does. But I mean, do you have like any downsides or like criticisms or things that you wish they expanded upon?
Honestly, the only criticism I have is not really even for the episode itself. Just I don't know. I honestly think this episode is pretty perfect for not just advancing the story of season 3, but to set up the new status quo for Darkwing Duck, should that series ever become a reality.
Yeah.
And giving Launchpad more to do besides just be the bumbling pilot.
Yeah. No, I've enjoyed the second half of this third season so far, though, and I made this post on like my own personal Facebook group page and on Twitter. I think they upped the animation budget for this, and you can kind of tell. Not to say like the animation wasn't good until now, but the characters, like, as I was rewatching the Halloween special, and when we see Penny again, the moon person who's who I think is just a delightful character, especially with the episode she's in. Um, Characters had a bit more bounce to them. Like they were a little more expressive. They put a little more like frames of movement in between actions and whatnot. Like, did you notice that?
A little bit, now that you mention it, but yeah, like the people who are animating and directing this batch of episodes have really done a good job.
Yeah, no. Like I said last time we talked about this show, I've enjoyed this series, and I can't really say there's been an episode where I was like, "Oh, that's the worst one." Like again, I have ones that I like more, but I haven't found a bad one per se.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been a bad episode of this series. It's it's like you said, some I like more than others. Some I might like a little bit less, but I overall the lowest episode is like it would be like a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, no, it like not a bad episode among them so far. But yeah, overall pretty good special. I can't wait to see what they do, and of course, like we have yet to see the Tailspin crew yet. So
That's right.
yeah, because they did the whole meta joke with having Goofy from the Goof Troop iteration on board, and they've introduced subtly the Rescue Rangers, which we know they're making a live action version for Disney Plus, but quote unquote live action, photorealistic animation and whatnot. But I hope they don't. But yeah, we have yet to see the Tailspin crew. So because now it's kind of come full circle, and I don't think there's that many Disney afternoon shows left because they've already introduced the gummy bears, and I don't think they're going to introduce any of the Snookums and Meat and the Mighty Ducks animated show. Though I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't unless they go to like another planet. I don't think we're gonna get Mighty Ducks. But speaking of the Disney afternoon, I forgot one more thing to mention. Well, actually, two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, there's a really obscure reference to a character from the Disney afternoon comics called Solego.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who kind of came up with. He's the one who came up with the idea for the Ramrod and how the multiverse is just a bunch of fictional universes intertwined.
Yeah, the lizard scientist.
Yep. So
yeah.
Solego was the villain of a comic crossover from the old Disney afternoon comics called Legend of the Chaos God.
Well, that's a gnarly title.
Yeah, this was one of those old crossover comics from the 90s, and it's such an obscure reference, but I love it. I also love how when Scrooge and the nephews get sucked into the alternate dimension, they make a reference to like an old DuckTales joke where a sea monster ate my ice cream.
I didn't catch that one, so that's very neat. Any other things you want to talk about with the DuckTales special?
There is a quick cameo of Bonkers. He's like the police. He's the police that was thwarted by the villains.
Yeah, I forgot about Bonkers. I wonder if they're going to go back to him at any point, because this show likes the deep cuts
It does.
of like Disney's lesser known characters and mostly TV stuff. So
I don't think we're gonna see Bunkers again. I think they just threw him in for that gag.
yeah, I could totally see that. um, so without further ado, I would love to say we should go move on to Over the Moon. We forgot to talk about one topic. Uh, would you like to talk about it now, or would you like to save it for next week? It's
Uh, you know what? Let's get that out of the way now because um, over on Twitter, there's been a little bit of an uproar over Cartoon Network's rejection of a pretty great pilot called Trick Moon that was created by um,
uh, J-
and yeah, Christina
J-
or Janina Hodgson,
yeah,
who goes by Cartoon Fun Time on Twitter. And man, if you saw this pilot, then you'd be about as upset as everyone
uh,
else in the animation community.
yeah. So her Twitter post has this message earlier this week, and this was on October 16th. Sorry that we're finally just getting to this. Earlier this week, I got the call from CN telling me that they are not going to be continuing forward with development on Trick Moon. This is not a result of a lack of enthusiasm on your part or the fault of any other projects at CN. Sadly, my project is just one of the many casualties of corporate restructuring. I love Trick Moon, its characters, the cast and crew, and everyone who gave it such a warm welcome. I couldn't be more proud and grateful for this whole experience. It was really a dream come true. So let's get this out of the way first. Stop blaming Cartoon Network for this situation. She made it pretty clear that it's not Cartoon Network's fault. It's the same thing with Adult Swim's and the Venture Brothers situation, which are supposedly going to do a final special, but that's just kind of rumor talk, or just in discussions of what's going on. Because as much as like Cartoon Network has made weird weird decisions and whatnot, the whole CN Real thing, the flooding of Teen Titans Go, and the cancellation of shows like Megas XLR and Symbionic Titan.
These decisions more often than not come from up top.
Yes, and Cartoon Network is owned by a giant corporation called AT&T. And if you know anything about them right now, they are bleeding money. They are billions in debt, and they are trying to do everything that they can to lessen that debt. And so far, they're not doing a good job, or they're not making enough to make that happen. And this is the thing. A lot of people like to blame Cartoon Network for this situation, and it's not. Because every person, like for Venture Brothers, for Trick Moon, have said it's a corporate restructuring. And I don't think Cartoon Network would be this like malicious, or at least not now, current Cartoon Network, because they still have other shows like Craig of the Creek and Victor and Valentino. And I know a lot of people got soured by it, by the announcement of the We Bears spinoff, the We Baby
Oh,
Bears.
yep.
And it's kind of like the whole SpongeBob situation on Nickelodeon, where it's like if a show doesn't do well, like it has to be as good as SpongeBob, or else it's not going to do. We're not going to support it, even though that's entirely unfair. And um, and so far it seems like Geneva owns Trick Moon. So it sounds like she's going to be able to shop it around. It's not stuck at Cartoon Network. And like really a lot of the situations that are going on right now should be blamed by AT&T. They're the ones trying to reshuffle and reorganize everything. And unfortunately, stuff like this is going to happen. It's not great, but go after AT&T. Do not harass Cartoon Network about it.
I agree with that 100%. I also think this could be another I think this could be another consequence of COVID-19, you know, because movie theaters are currently shut down or are not fully open yet. Um, that that mean that means that's like one less profit um, profit stream for AT&T. Um, so of course they're going to have to restructure everything, just like what Disney's doing, just like what all the major corporations are going through at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's just like I feel bad. I hope Trick Moon finds a new home, either like on Disney or Netflix or HBO Max, which would be kind of ironic. Uh, but um, but yeah, I feel bad. I hope things go well for Geneva and her projects. And Stephen P. Neary, the guy who created Fungies, is like shouted her out, saying like she's super talented, she's great. Please give her support. But it's also just like people do not harass these people. Do not harass the people who work at Cartoon Network. I don't know. I know it sounds like I'm a broken record, but you just don't be jerks about this. Just be nice. It's chaos out there. Be kind.
Yeah, it's one thing to be like to be upset that this show didn't get picked up. Believe me, I'm just as upset at what we could have had.
Agreed.
Um, but it's another thing to attack the wrong people.
Yeah. But that's really all we can say about it. I hope things work out well. I these corporate restructurings, man, they just uh, it's just it's baffling that AT&T spent like so much money to buy Warner Brothers and whatnot and such. It's nuts.
Yeah, they bought Warner Media while they were still in debt.
I just don't get it. It's like to stop losing money, you got to keep making money. It's like it man, I could rant about AT&T and such. Just that one decision is just so insane. I get it. It sounds good as a business perspective, but yeesh.
I feel like they took the saying you have to spend money to make money. I think they took that too literally.
Yeah, they absolutely did. And Scrooge McDuck would be disappointed. But speaking of Disney and Netflix and streaming and whatnot, let's move on to our final topic of Glenn Keane's new directorial debut for an animated feature, Over the Moon. Mike, you well, first off, disclosure, I signed up for the Netflix media website, and I was able to see this movie a few weeks before everyone else could, and so I've been able to see it beforehand. I know, Mike, you saw it today, so I'll start with you. What did you think of Over the Moon overall before we dive into the movie itself?
Um, right now, Over the Moon is my number one film of the year. It's I need to rewatch Wolfwalkers to confirm which one I like more, but um, no pun intended. I'm over the moon for Over the Moon. So what? Okay, so the story is that this is based on the Chinese goddess Chang'e, the moon goddess, who, you know, who a girl named Fei Fei still believes in, even after the death of her mother, who told stories of Shang-Ei when she was growing up, and now, you know, upset with her new status quo, you know, with her dad getting about to be remarried, and getting a new younger brother in the process. She decides, well, I need to believe that Shang-Ei is real. So she creates a rocket ship, travels to the moon, and boy, this movie is a trip.
Yeah, so she ends up on the moon and she finds out that Zhang Yi is actually real. And Shang Yi requests a gift. And Fei Fei doesn't really exactly know what that gift is. The audience doesn't know either. And she is then sent off on an adventure across the moon to find this gift and to bring back a photo of Zhang Yi. And along the way, like, her brother tries to help her, I guess, stepbrother.
Yeah.
Tries to get the photo back from Zhang Yi, and then Fei Fei encounters a pangolin, which I just realized that's what he was. Named Gobi, voiced by Ken Jeong. And yeah, this was a great movie. Not that I don't understand why some people aren't, well, over the moon with Over the Moon. But it's one of my favorites. It's third place for me, and it's only game beaten out by Wolfwalkers and Ride Your Wave, which Mike, you need to see Ride Your Wave.
I will once we do a catch up episode for the rest of 2020. I'm definitely going to watch Ride Your Wave. But
yeah,
Over the Moon has pretty much everything that I love about a good animated feature.
So yeah, let's start with positives. Like, what do you love about this movie?
It would be a cheat to say everything, but particularly the stuff that I love is just the creativity of it all. I love how I love how, even though this is Glenn Keane's directorial debut, and also it's the debut of John Cars, who directed Disney's Paperman. That's really important because even though this movie was primarily CG animated, it still has a lot of 2D animation in the story in the beginning with Chang'e and her love interest Hoi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a great like opening animated sequence with these two lost lovers. But also the world they create, it feels like these characters, who are also designed by Keane, like these characters in this world, it has like a very 2D energy, even though it's all in CG.
Right.
And the colors, like these,
man, when they get to the moon, it is well, I guess to quote something, that's pretty.
I said that a lot while I was watching this.
Well, when you get to that sequence when she sees the city on the moon, it's like, wow, look at the vibrant colors. Like,
by the way, this is the second time since like DuckTales that the moon has been more than just a moon. like they even call it their utopia, like Lunaria.
Yeah.
Which is so close to Lunaris.
It's a little on the nose. But overall, like apparently the production companies were like Netflix, Pearl Studios, who did 2019's Abominable for DreamWorks. And
Yeah, the comparison is pretty spot on.
I like the human designs, and also Sony Pictures ImageWorks helped out a little bit as well. I'm not entirely sure where exactly, but
They probably threw some more cash at the moon.
probably because man, those designs are great. I love the little moon cake uh, individuals that help out Shang-Yi, and like if you were disappointed by Mulan 2020, Over the Moon is just drenched in Chinese culture.
Oh
Like it's really great. It gives the film its distinct look and personality and identity. Um, I want to say this, and this isn't like to call out any of the negative reviews. I like the writing in this movie. Not all of it. There are some clunky elements, and not all the jokes work. But I think the script is a lot smarter than I think people give it credit for. Because I think and this is why I think Glenn Keane's touches were still entangled, even though he wasn't like the director of it after his health incident. Because a lot of what the characters say or do, I think, have layers to them. For example, the grandfather, even though it's like he obviously has an obsession with hairy crabs. And by the way, the food looks great in this movie.
it always
uh,
does.
it, man, animated food, stop looking better. But he'll talk, but a few of his hairy crab facts, like when he said when early on in the movie when he's talking about like it's like hairy crabs are territorial creatures and feel defensive when something's in their territory. It links to how Fei Fei is feeling because she feels like this woman who her father is falling in love with is entering her territory. And I like do you know what I mean? Like by as I explain this, because I want to make sure this is like I'm being clear.
Um, yeah, no, I understood what you're saying because once the grandpa says that, it like pretty much the next thing we see is Fei Fei acting kind of hostile towards what would be her stepmother.
Yeah. And then and we'll talk about Chin, her stepbrother a little more because he and Gobi are like a little more of the contingent issues or polarizing issues with the film because you either love them or hate them. I know Chin. Well, first of all, I think Chin has some pretty good lines. Like when he tells Fei Fei, like, I have a superpower. Can you guess it? And she's like, you're really annoying. And he's like, instead of being hurt by it, he's like, now I have two superpowers. Or like when he says, like, I took fourth place in the ping pong tournament. Should have been third. Like he doesn't instantly say like number one. He's humble about it.
I that's a small detail that kind of redeems this character.
I mean, I know he's like the annoying little brother, and I would say that like yeah, he's the annoying brother, and I do. And one of my small criticisms with the film does include him, but I want to talk about his supposed superpower of being able to go through walls. I
they
think,
they pay that off perfectly, and
but
not just once but twice.
yes, but I want to talk about the more like symbolicness of it, and I think he does say this in the movie. I think during the big ping pong sequence, uh, like yes, you can take it literally that he's like no barriers, but I think there's more like of a symbolic element to that notion because he's like there are going to be no barriers between us, not figurative, not literal barriers. And of course the at the end it pays off in a pretty great sequence and probably one of the more touching sequences. um But I mean, but that's what I mean by I think this script is a little smarter than whatever than like I think some people are saying. You know?
Yeah, I hear you. Something like to that point, something else I really like is other than the biker chicks, which I think is I think is a funny visual gag.
Oh, biker chicks only.
Other than the biker chicks, this movie doesn't have a villain. Like the antagonist of the film is sadness, despair, loneliness. It
it
like
it's dealing
the
with grief, and
yeah
it's very much in the vein of like if you've seen a Monster Calls or a Song of the Sea. It's a character getting over uh grief of like losing a loved one and so on. And her and Fei Fei's story arc is mirrored with Shang Yi, who, if you, I mean, this was probably intentional, but read that name, Shang Yi. Take out the little apostrophe. Change.
change. Yep,
I love.
that had to have been intentional.
Yes, I because and it also goes into like the little visual details, like Fei Fei's hair, like when she's young and happy, it's straight and beautiful. And then of course they show at the end her hair is chaotic and unsettled, and it matches her current mood. And I think that's such a smart little detail, and I think only Glenn Keane and the other co-director could have pointed that out. And I also think it's part of the writing from I mean, she's no longer with us, Audrey Wells, who wrote the script for The Hate You Give. um it's just like I just love the little details in the movie and the story. And yes, it has its little Disney-ish elements because it's Glenn Keane and John Cars. That's going to happen,
And it's a musical.
and it's a musical. But I think there's more nuance than what you assume, and I think the movie kind of got mismarketed.
Well, it's Netflix, so that shouldn't be a
Yeah,
surprise.
because they make it look goofier and a little more crowd pleasing than what it is. It reminds me of this situation with Smallfoot and Abominable, where they're actually much deeper movies than what they were advertised. And I think and I kind of noticed that, so I wasn't really taken back by the marketing and what we saw in the final product. And no, I think it handles its themes of grief, dealing with grief and sadness and death. Because like even like I guess spoilers, when they find the gift and Zhang Yi gets it and is able to meet her long lost love, it's only temporary, because it's like there's nothing that she can do to change the past. And from Disney's Lion King, the past can hurt, but you either run away from it or you
Or
confront
learn
it.
from it.
Yeah, or
Yep.
you learn from it. And like, man, I really like this movie. Do you have any other like praises for?
Um, going further into what I said about this being a musical, the songs are great. Um, the songs are really great. Uh, the songs are written by Helen Park, Christopher Curtis, and Marjorie Hutfield. Um, and Helen Park has, you know, she's an award-winning lyricist for a musical called K-pop.
Yeah.
And K-pop has one of the stars of Over the Moon, Kathy Ang. She voices Fei Fei, and obviously she's great. She's great in that role.
Right.
But if you're a Hamilton fan, um, Shang-A is voiced by Philippa Sue, who played Eliza Hamilton, and she has probably one of my favorite musical numbers. Two of them actually. One is like this like big elaborate pop number called Ultra Luminary. And then the other one is towards the end, called Love Someone New.
Yeah. Well, she has like 3 songs. She has that one, then Hey Boy.
Yep.
And that's why I like the music too. I think there's not like one of the big problems with having like a Disney style musical aspect to your film. You have to be careful what songs you choose to use and or cut, because like as much as I like the first Frozen, the song with the rock trolls is the worst song of the bunch. And or oh, what was it? Or like in Hunchback of Notre Dame, the big cheer up song
Oh,
for Quasimodo.
a guy like you.
Yeah, it's like you have to be careful where you place these songs. And but luckily I didn't run into that. I think this was like a Frozen 2 situation where you can debate if you like the music in that movie more than the first, but there's no filler song.
Even Hey Boy, it comes off like a filler song, but it's Chin's time to shine, and he does shine in that scene.
Yeah, so I guess let's talk a little bit about the I guess polarizing aspects of the film. They come in the form of Chin, the stepbrother, and Gobi, the pangolin. Well, first off, I want to say this is a great cast. I love Kathy Yang, Robert G. Chu, Philippe. How do you say her name? Philippa Sue.
Yep.
Ken Jeong, John Cho, Ruthie Ann Miles, Sandra Oh, who, well, she's always great. Not the meatiest role of the bunch, but she's great. Kimiko Glenn as Auntie May, the one in the red shirt, and then
Margaret Cho as
was,
Auntie Ling.
By the way, I loved the interaction when they're talking about the whole Zhang Yi legend, where it's like she supposedly took both the immortality pills, and then I guess like Art Butler plays Auntie Ling's husband. It's like, and now she's stuck up there with a rabbit, and Ling like pulls a crab in half, and it's like, good choice. It's like I know there's like the trope of like the bitter couple and whatnot, but I thought that was a pretty funny well executed gag. But yeah, let's talk about Chin. Do you like, a lot of people seem to have an issue with Chin being there? He's kind of obnoxious, and then for one of my issues with the film, I kind of wish there was at least one more scene of him and Fei Fei bonding, because he kind of gets thrown like they get separated for a majority of the middle part.
I can see that. The only problem is if you do that, you kind of have to sacrifice the ping pong scene. But I understand your point, that we should have had a little bit more time for Fei Fei and Chin to bond.
Yeah, I mean, like I think the final scene when they're in that like void of darkness was great, and Chin is like the best part of that one of the best parts of that sequence. And but I wish it was like a little more, because then it's like when Fei Fei gets back with Gobi with the gift, it's like, oh hey, we're all good now. Let's get this going. And like, I guess there's like, I wish there was a little more there, so it's not just kind of brushed aside. That
here's a counterpoint. The reason why I think I'm okay with how much time Chin got, or Chin and Fei Fei got, was one of the most important parts of Gobi and Fei Fei's interaction is, Fei Fei thinks that she hates her new stepbrother, but then Gobi is like asking all these questions about like where'd you get the idea for leapfrog, and who taught you to hang upside down to avoid the biker chicks. And as Fei Fei keeps explaining like where those ideas come from, she starts to realize, maybe I don't hate Chin as much as I think I do.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. That's the thing. I think people can't get over the fact that he's acting like, heaven forbid, a little brother.
I mean,
Like,
I get it. When we first meet him, yeah, he is annoying, but he's annoying in the same way that Olaf is annoying, but like but both of them are supported by really funny and well-written dialogue.
yeah. And no, so it's like I don't have that big of an issue with Chin. So like I disagree with him being one of the weaker parts. But now I guess let's talk about it, because it seems like this guy constantly gets dunked on anytime he shows up because of his typecasted style of comedy. Ken Jeong is Gobi. Now
Okay.
I wish, or do you, how about you go first?
I Look, I get it. I get that um Ken Jeong does have a tendency to be typecast, but here's where I'll stick up for him. Um one one he is in he is one of many um Asian actors in a predominantly Asian cast, um Asian ensemble film. So he belongs here no matter what you think of him. And two, he's great. His like he's not too over the top. He's actually This is actually one of his more reserved roles.
I agree. I don't think he's as annoying as people make him out to be. And I get it when you see him in films like the Hangover films and Transformers 3. But I've liked both of his animated roles this year, because he's also Dynomutt in Scoob, and he was pretty much one of the best parts of that movie.
Yeah.
And I wish there was a little more substantial purpose. I'm not going to Gobi is not pointless. I'm not going to say that. That's a thing that I think too many animation fans are kind of saying. It's like you could just take him out and whatnot, and he'd be like, and the movie wouldn't change.
No,
You
no, no,
need
no, no. He is like
crucial.
oh, very. He is the one who pretty like he's the one who kind of helps save the day.
Yes, and I liked his song sequence. What is it called? Wonderful. And I give Ken Jeong credit. He actually sang the song. They didn't like get a singer sound alike for him. And I thought it was pretty great. And yes, Gobi could be a little annoying at points, but he and while I do wish there was a little more of a substantial payoff for his character, um I liked his character, and I liked, like you said, you defended him earlier with him being like, he helped make Fei Fei realize that she doesn't really hate her stepbrother. And I don't know. I mean, like, what do you like? What do you like about Gobi?
Um, I like his optimism. I like I kind of like how he's written to be annoying. You know, he's kind of neurotic. He talks nervously, um, but he has a good heart. He wants to help Fei Fei. Like his character has basically the same arc as Fei Fei and Shang-E. Like all three of them are feeling lonely, but for different reasons.
Right. And I fell for him like he like for his song sequence where he sings "Wonderful." I liked that sequence and I liked the lyrics because it is just like you. I know it. The past is sad, but you got to keep moving. And that's the one thing. That's the whole motto of that one film, Meet the Robinsons. Yes, you ran into something bad. That sucks, but keep moving. And like I guess there's I like I said, I wish there was a bit more of a payoff at the end because then he's just kind of left there on the moon. Not that I wanted him to come down to earth or anything. Just I wish there was like a little more of a reward for him because he's kind of introduced not late into the movie, but kind of like a little bit after the halfway point. Though I will say he's a lot more substantial than that robot from Treasure Planet.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was comparing him to
I
because
I was kind of comparing him to Bing Bong from Inside Out. Like he plays a critical role and like he plays a critical role in getting our characters to a certain spot in the narrative. Um, and he doesn't overstay his welcome. He's in there just enough to get the characters where they need to be. But
right.
I will agree. I think um, I think there could have been a little bit more of a payoff. Like um, when we meet him, he was exiled for 1,000 years. I think what they could have done is they could have like reinstated his position in like the palace, or I don't know, given him like a more tangible reward.
Yeah, I mean that's really my only issue with him, and I don't care if people thought it was a dumb joke. I love Ken Jeong's delivery when he's like, "You get to keep that, and I'll keep these sweet moon pants." And or like when he's like saying please, but he's like please, and then it like cuts to like time later, please, and it's like okay, stop. Oh, but one more thing, yes, he's okay, fine. Like I think he's a lot. I like Ken Jeong. I think he's a lot funnier than people give him credit for. And even though I wasn't like the biggest fan of Community, he's been anytime I saw him on that show, I thought he was pretty great. So, um, but yeah, do you have any other major parts you want to talk about?
Um, I think I've covered pretty much everything. If I if there is anything I missed, I'm I'm sure people bring it up in the comments. But for now, I I just love everything about this movie. Everything from the like the opening to the ending, all the songs are terrific. The soundtrack is available on YouTube definitely, and Spotify probably as well.
Yeah, no, like I said, I love this movie. And like I said, it's not like I don't disagree or hate the negative reviews I've seen. I understand why some people might not be on board with it. I know, like I talked to someone and they said the middle section was their least favorite part. Um, but I don't agree with some of the more toxic comments saying it got worse. The movie got worse when it got to the moon.
What? I absolutely disagree with that.
I disagree with that too. And just like I have the art book on pre-order, so because I'm not missing out on getting an art book for a Netflix film like I did with Klaus, and that book's like $100 million to get. And but no, it might not be my like number one, but it's in my top five. And even if like all of this year didn't happen, it'd still probably be in the top five.
Yeah, same. If if I was lucky enough to see this in theaters, my opinion on this would not change.
Yeah, no, and I know some people did, and I'm just not going to go to a theater to see it. And if you feel safe enough to have seen it beforehand, then cool, you do you. But yeah, no, I highly recommend people go see Over the Moon, and it just makes me like excited to see what else Glenn Keane has going.
Oh yeah, I know he's not getting any younger, but like creatively, I think there's so much more that he has to tell.
Yes, I want to see as many stories as he wants to put out, and before he officially like calls it quits, because he's obviously a guy who has many stories to tell. And it's also number one on Netflix right now, or last time I checked. So
Is
that's
it really? That's awesome.
yeah, it's or at least in the top 5 on Netflix. And man, I can't wait. I can't wait for Netflix to talk about this movie's numbers. Um, but yeah, no, I love this movie.
Yeah. So if it wasn't obvious, we highly recommend this. And speaking of recommendations, Cameron, do you have any to share?
Yeah, so next week we'll be talking about the big fall anime 2020 impressions. And I know I'll talk more in detail about some of these recommendations, but I only have one because I want to keep it to the spooky stuff, because by the next time we talk, it'll be November 1st. Um, I want to recommend a goofier, monstery comedy called Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle. This is one of the best anime of the season so far, and it's streaming on Funimation. It basically takes the concept of the whole like, oh, the princess has been kidnapped and is in the demon lord's castle, and flips it by really like the princess is like, well, it's going to take a while before the hero comes and gets me. They're feeding me 3 square meals. They're not going to hurt me. So I'm going to be fine. But my bed sucks. And it's basically her adventure through the demon cat lord castle, and trying to get a better bed, get better sleep. And like, for example, there's this one of the funniest gags of the first episode is when she's trying to find a better bed frame, and she ends up like encountering a slime, and both her and the slime fall into a pit of lava. But of course, there's a church in this demon lord's fortress, and she realizes that she likes the coffins, like the shape of them and the cushions in them.
Oh, I think I know where this joke is going.
And she encounters the priest, this human looking demon with these horns, and she grabs the priest and starts using his horns to sand down the coffin. And then she takes the slime and uses it and basically says like, now like that we sanded down the edges, now we got to wax them. So she uses the slime to wax the coffin. And then you find out like in like one of the like either second or third episode, she has like 4 or 5 coffins
Oh boy.
in her. But it's so fun. It's probably the funniest anime of the season. Like from top to bottom, one of the best, and probably the funniest. And probably the funniest anime of this year. Like intentional. I mean, even like intentional comedies and whatnot. And I can't wait for you to see that one. And I just hope more people are watching it. Do not sleep on Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle.
I can't wait to check that one out. For my recommendation, I I have no choice but to plug my buddy PJ Campbell. His next animated watch along is going to be Tim Burton's Frankenweenie.
Oh, the stop motion film from 2012.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that movie.
Also, but like before that, we're also watching the live action short from the 80s. So
Yeah.
it's a full Tim Burton appreciation night.
Well, awesome. That sounds fun. I like that movie. I thought a lot of people slept on that one, but that's
Yeah,
just me.
like a lot of people slept on it, but I also don't blame them because this came out the same year as Paranorman, as Wreck-It Ralph, and
Yeah, a few others like Chico and Rita came out, and that's a great movie from G Kids. And
also Hotel Transylvania. So like fall 2012 was a busy time.
I'm sure Tim Burton's reputation is kind of not taking a nosedive, but people have not been fond of his 2010 output. So
Yeah,
I can kind of understand, like, because this was like, I think right after the Alice in Wonderland film that he did for Disney.
it was like 2 years after.
Yeah, so I can understand people being like, I no, I don't want to go see this because it's current time Tim Burton, not Beetlejuice, Big Fish era Tim Burton. So
Yeah, and before Frank and Me, the last great Tim Burton movie that we got was 2007's Sweeney Todd.
yeah, that's a spooky movie. I mean, if you're up for some gore, because there's a lot of throat slashing in that one. Not really for kids.
Of course not.
But no, that sounds fun. I hope the watch along goes well.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited for that one. Well, that'll conclude this episode of Tooned Up. This was fun. It was less bogged down by news and more more fulfilling in these discussions.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought this was a good episode.
Next week we dive headfirst into the fall 2020 anime season.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. I can't wait to hear the rest of your thoughts about some of the anime titles. I've been watching all of them. Mike, I know your plan is to just watch the ones I highly recommended from
Yeah,
from the bunch,
I'm,
but yeah,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
watch as much as I can because I want to make sure I have seen at least the best, some of the worst, and a few random ones.
Yeah, no, we'll set that up throughout this entire week. So, um, but yeah, no, I can't wait. This was kind of my idea because I liked the idea of like because we mostly talk about anime seasons when they end or when they are released on Netflix, where we get them all at once. And I thought it would be kind of fun to do an impressions of like the first 3 episodes of certain shows. I've been going hardcore and watching more than 3, though I did drop out of 1, and we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, so look out for that one. But before we head out of here, Cameron, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Cam's Eye View. I run a website called camseyeview.biz where I review animated films called The Other Side of Animation. I'm about to post my review of the Lupin the Third special, Fujiko Mine's Lie, which is the last special from the A Woman Called Fujiko Mine miniseries. And I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/camseyeview. And you can find me on the Renegade Pop Culture Facebook group. I'll post some animation updates and such on what we're going to be tackling, and you can find me in some of the other film centric Facebook groups.
Awesome. And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CaptainK42. Check out my quick thought reviews on letterbox.com/CoachK42. Find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. Check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can check out all our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. Last but not least, check out renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we. That'll do it for this episode of Tooned Up. We will catch you later. Peace out.
Bye.